I'm Sami, and this is the Career Kickstart Show. And today's show is going to be a little bit different because I'm talking to Carmen Corral, who is a multi-passionate freelancer, digital nomad, who is going to talk to us today about her multi-passionate career and kind of how she has broke the mold in being a person who has, really embraces the freelance lifestyle. Now, Carmen, tell us the name of your current website that you're working on, which has all to do with peer-to-peer loans?
Yeah, so my last project is a website about peer-to-peer loans. It's about how to invest in peer-to-peer loans. I did start that new project because I was looking for something to invest in, but I'm not a financial person. I've never been involved in finance. And it's when somebody were telling me about that, how this is working and everything, I thought that's pretty easy and it's probably more people.
That's strange. Let's try that again because for some reason this crashed on me, which is odd. Okay, take two. I can look this over in case it did save, but Tommy, that's the name of my podcast editor. Doing this over. So, okay. Uno, dos, tres. Hi, I'm Sami, and this is the Career Kickstart Show. Today, I am talking to Carmen Corral, who is a multi-passionate freelancer, digital nomad, who's been a digital nomad for a while, and she's embraced the multi-passionate freelancer lifestyle, which she said brings her a lot more freedom. Now, Carmen, your latest project is on peer-to-peer loans. Tell me a little bit about that, and then we'll work our way back to some of the other, things that you have done in your career.
Okay. So my newest project is a blog about peer-to-peer loans. It's a way of investment that I start because I was looking for something easy to invest. I'm not a person that like financial things and very complicated things, and I thought that would be a really nice for other people to learn how to do something that is so easy and to encourage other people, as well as there's not many women involved in the investment. So yeah, that's my new project.
So, Carmen, your career is kind of interesting because you have done a number of things. You started in HR. Did you decide to be a digital nomad first and then try to find a way to make money as you traveled, or were you starting off as a freelancer first? How did you kind of start this multi-passionate freelancer adventure?
Well, that's complicated. So in 2013, I was tired of what I was doing, and I decided I want to travel to see the world and decide what I want to do with my life. So I went traveling for 6 months, just traveling in 6 months, exactly just traveling because my idea was to think about what I want to do with my life, and I didn't think at all what I want to do with my life. So 6 months after I came back home, I have the hardest time in my life because I was back with the same situation I had before, even worse because I didn't have anything at the job, no nothing. But eventually, it was like a hard year. I was trying different things, but eventually I find this way. So when I came back from traveling.
And where are you from?
I'm from Spain.
Okay, and you were working in HR before you decided to travel, right?
Yes, I was working in HR before I was traveling. I have like a normal, regular life, working 8 to 5. I was growing up my career. Like I started working in recruitment, and I was a human resources manager. Everything was fine. It was what I want to do when I finished my degree, but eventually it was like kind of empty. It's like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's boring.
Yeah. And culturally, it is more accepted in Spain to kind of pick a job and then be there for a million years.
This is what my parents they want. It's like, and what most of the people they think is like, they think, oh, if you are successful in your career, you have to have a job forever. If it's in the same company, even better. But nowadays that's impossible. But at least you kind of grow your career. Like You start doing this and then continue doing the same. You just go up your company or different companies. That is kind of like what people think that brings you stability. And to me, it's not stability. Nowadays, I feel way more that my job is way more stable. Doing what I'm doing now, I'm working as a freelance. I have different clients. I have different projects. So if something doesn't work out, if I cannot work with a client anymore, so I still have the other clients to work with or the different projects I'm working on.
Okay, and when you came back from that 6 months of travel, you had that hard year where you're trying to figure out different things. What were you trying in that year to make the freelance work?
So basically, I didn't try at the beginning to work as a freelance. So at the beginning, I didn't know what to do. I was just thinking, oh, I wish I could do something that I could travel and do it. But it was kind of like oh, that's an utopia. That's a dream. I could never do that. I was not actually thinking that will be possible. I tried to work. I worked for a few months in a cruise ship as a photographer because I like photography, and it's like, let's try it. Then I moved to live in Malta, and then there it's a new country, so it was not easy to start something in a new country. So I tried what I knew what to do, human resources again. I was already tired and bored of that, but I say, okay, let's do that. And somehow I was very lucky that I was unlucky that I couldn't find a full-time job there in human resources or in anything. So I found a job as a recruiter, but part-time, working on commission basis. And because of that, I started to search for remote jobs. And first I started writing about human resources too. Then I started to work per hour for a recruiter remotely, everything remotely. So I have like a half I was working on site, and then half of my income it comes from working with other clients remotely.
Okay, so you were doing that in Malta. And I know that you have been a coach. You were certified with the International Federation of Coaches. You also have done content editing. What was it like to do your coaching work?
So when I was still living in Spain, before even I started traveling, my company closed down during the crisis, and it was like an opportunity to do a change. So after my first thought, it was I want to travel, but then my second thought it was like, oh, but I will need to do something. I cannot just go and travel. So it was when I decided to do the coaching certification with the idea to start working as a freelance. And I started to do something in Spain and to work a bit, but it was not the best time at that time. And then eventually it was when I decided to travel.
Yeah. Do you feel like the crisis was something that kind of gave you the push to learn more about freelancing, or were you already interested in freelancing before that?
Totally, it does. Sometimes it's difficult to change career, to change the path. You need a push, and sometimes the push it comes from a crisis, and it can be outside the crisis, or it can be something that just you get redundant in the company or something like that. And I saw that a lot after I got the certification. I work as a coach, and I was not looking for these kind of clients, but eventually most of the clients were coming to me. They lose their jobs and they want to find a new job, but they want not to find any kind of job. They were looking for something that they really like. So it's like they saw the opportunity of, well, now that I don't have a job, I really want to find out what I want to do. That is as well what happened to me. I think it's very difficult, not impossible, but very difficult that you are in your life, like having your regular job and your well-paid job. Like sometimes, especially if you are well-paid, it's kind of a trap. Like you feel inside that trap, and it's like, you don't even think about it, but even if you think of it, it's like, no, that's a crazy idea just to quit and to leave everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's the golden handcuffs where you're being paid well enough that you don't want to really, unleash, but I know that for me, I graduated during the recession and everything, and that really taught me that I needed to be able to create either multiple income streams or ways of being able to support myself, even if a company goes under or, circumstances change. Now, with your career, you got into being a digital nomad. How does it feel like to kind of be a digital nomad and try to find these different clients to do? Because it seems like you kind of like these different challenges and maybe get a little bit bored after a while, so you mix it up.
Yeah, I do get bored very easily. So for me, something that I never thought that I could do that is like to work in different things. Is something I can do now. And I still do some recruitment that is really nice. Now that I'm not doing that full time, I really enjoy it more. And then basically the rest of the time I do content creation. I write in Spanish for different websites. And then I have my own projects that basically all of them, they are blog and websites and book I have. But I like, so I think, at least for me, when I have something to do and I have to do the same thing the whole day, it's like, oh my God, I don't want to wake up today.
No, I understand. I'm also kind of like that, where it's like I'm like a little monkey. If I don't have a new thing to do, I get into mischief.
Exactly, and I enjoy a lot to have new things and to learn new things. That's, I think, other reason why I like so much writing, and I write about everything they ask me for. I can write about it, and I enjoy that. Do all the research and find out new things. I was writing about tires for cars, spare parts for cars, the rings that the cigars they have.
Oh, wow.
About coins, like a specific coin of €1 from Belgium, things like that.
Okay. Do you find, because I know that there's a lot of folks who are worried about becoming a digital nomad because they assume that all the jobs you have to know English, but it sounds like you've created a niche for yourself serving a Spanish language audience. Do you find that there's a lot of opportunities in that market?
I think there is a lot of opportunities, but it's way easier if you know English, in the sense that most of my clients, they don't speak Spanish, but they need content in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
So I have a lot of clients that they have some of them, they are big clients like e-commerce or big websites that they are from other European countries and they want to start in the Spanish market. So they need somebody that knows how to speak in Spanish, like knows how to write in Spanish, but they don't do that. So you have to be able most of the time to communicate in English with the clients. I mean, not all the time, but it will actually bring you more opportunities.
Oh, okay. No, that's very interesting because I know that there's a lot of people who feel like this nomad thing is just for people who speak English or something like that. And I know that from some of my friends who know Portuguese, that they're serving the Portuguese market. Like I know one digital nomad where her whole income comes from the fact that she makes exercise videos in Romanian. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of opportunities in these other languages. And it seems like you've been very good at finding these different opportunities as you travel and go. But what I think is interesting is that you do have this one stable contract and then you're able to make more income on top of that. Am I correct?
I have a couple of clients. I've been working for them for a long time. One for more than 4 years, the other one 2 years. Actually, with the one that I've been just working for 2 years, we're going to finish the contract right now, like the end of the month. And then I have some other clients that they come to me like every other month and they ask me for something. It's not every month they have work, but they come back.
Okay. How do you find it is, do you feel like it's difficult to find clients or how do you find your clients?
I think I was lucky, or I found my luck. I searched for my luck. Um, I never had a problem finding clients, but it's true that you have to put effort on that. It's like the same thing as when you are looking for a regular job, you have to put out there a lot of CVs. Here you have to send a lot of offers. You have to send a lot of, uh, I'm out there. If you are looking for something, I'm here.
Yeah, I read an article that you did for a Spanish language digital nomad site, and you said that you find a lot of your clients on Upwork.
I did, yes.
Okay. What would be your advice for people who are looking to try to find clients on Upwork? Is there like any tips you can give?
Yeah, so basically a lot of patience. And a lot of work involved. At the beginning, it's very difficult to get clients, and probably it gets more difficult every year. But if you are there and you don't lose your patience, just send in the beats and just, I think you will eventually find something. Once you have the first client, the second client is way, way easier.
Oh yeah, it's that theory that once you're able to make your first dollar online, you can make your first 100, your first 1,000, and so on and so forth.
You're still gonna have to work a lot on that, and at the beginning, the first months, probably you have to invest more time on that and really working on your clients. But yes, at the beginning, I will not recommend just to work for very little money, but you may have to offer something a bit better than somebody that has way more experience than you.
Yeah. Okay.
I think another thing that is very useful is like, okay, you are out there in Upwork, but it's not the first job you have. It's the first job you have in Upwork, but put there all the things that you did outside, like your blog or a blog that you do with others, or you had this. Most of the people have experience, even if it's not through Upwork, has experience previously.
Okay, no, that's a good tip, because I've noticed that a lot of people who want to be digital nomads, they are like, oh, but I don't have experience in doing online work. But it's like, you've done work before. Just talk about what you've done. It doesn't need to be specifically, oh, this is what I did on the internet.
I think actually one of why I found clients in Upwork, especially at the beginning, is because I had written a book before, and this thing kind of gave you like, okay, even if I didn't have a job before through Upwork, I have something out there that people could see.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You always and I tell this to a lot of my career coaching clients, is that you need to create a bit of a portfolio so you can showcase and demonstrate the skills that you already have. That way it makes it a lot easier when you're responding to a client request. You can send them a writing sample because you already have it. You can send them a website sample because you've already made one. For you, Carmen, since you're a multi-passionate digital nomad, do you ever feel like you almost have so many options and it's hard to choose, or do you kind of already get an idea of what you want to do?
I do. Sometimes I feel I have so many things open, and I have now, I'm working on that, but it's difficult for me sometimes to prioritize my own projects. I end up working much more for my clients, even when I know, I want to have my own projects. I want to just my blog be successful, or to promote more my book or something like that. But I end up working more for my clients. Sometimes I say to myself, it's because I don't pay myself. I do eventually, but it's not so like clients, you work a few hours and they pay you that few hours that you work for them. But when you work on your own projects, it takes a bit longer, so it's more long term.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. That's always been my struggle and everything like that, is trying to build the containers of, this is when I work for myself, this is when I work for others. I do know that as a digital nomad, that my work schedule is a little bit different from other people, as opposed to being like a 9 to 5. Like right now, because I have so many projects that I need to finish and stuff like that, I'm working a lot more. But last month when I was in Portugal, I wasn't working very much at all, just because I was kind of relaxing. Do you find that your work schedule changes a lot, or do you keep it kind of regular?
It changed because I hate routine, so I make it change, and it changes a bit. It depends which place I am. Like if I'm in a place that it gets dark, like the sunset is very early, I may work till earlier. If I'm in another place, I may work till late. But I will not say the number of hours I work changes a lot. I usually work around 6 hours a day. Sometimes a bit more, sometimes I may work 8, sometimes I may work 4. But I will say like the average is 6 hours.
Okay. So it goes to show for folks who are worried about becoming a freelancer that they're going to be working 12 hours a day. You don't need to. You can make yourself a decent schedule. Now,
I think it's not possible to work every day 12 hours a day. I actually don't think like usually when we go to work to office 8 hours a day, it's not true. We are just there 8 hours a day, but we don't really work 8 hours a day.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. I find that for me, I'm able to focus a lot more. And I usually, when I'm just like not working on extra projects, as I'm taking September off and everything, I find that I get more done in less amount of time, but also because I'm not being pulled into meetings, I don't have like random stuff that I'm getting pulled into and everything like that. So Carmen, before we end the interview, what has been your favorite place to travel to as a digital nomad?
That's difficult to say. There's many places I like, but probably one of the places I like the most, and is where I spent more time in the past 2 years and a half that I've been traveling, is in Dahab in Egypt.
Oh, what do you like about Egypt?
So I could not say that I know much about Egypt because I end up just going to this specific place and spending there the whole month. I usually go there for 1 month. I like the sea, it's amazing. The sea, the desert. There is scuba diving I love, but there is options for other people that they like windsurfing, kite surfing, and I don't know, place has something special. It's like magic.
I love hearing that because I find that digital nomads end up kind of, because they're not dependent, oh, I only have this amount of time for a holiday. So a lot of people who do touristing, they're like, okay, I got to go to Rome or I got to go to New York. You know, nomads generally go to these sort of like random places where people don't always think to go. Like right now we're in Bulgaria in Bansko, and if you had asked me 3 years ago when I started nomading, oh, you're going to spend time in Bulgaria, I'd be like, am I? The hell's in Bulgaria? But it's such a lovely community here, and I've heard so much about that place in Egypt because they have a co-working space and everything. So it's definitely on my radar. Now, Carmen, thank you so much for being on my show today. Before we end, do you want to share where people can connect with you on the web? What is the new website that you have?
Sure. Well, my website, my new project is just in Spanish. The website is called invertirenprestamos.com.
And that'll be in the show notes.
And then, well, they can connect with that. And if they want to know something a bit more, like, because this is in Spanish, I have my book about public speaking. It's in English, translated to English. It's called 33 tips for public speaking.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Carmen, for being on my show today.
Thank you, Sam.
It was great, and thank you all for listening. As always, I'm Sami, your career specialist. Bye.
Change your career, change your life at CareerKickstartAcademy.com.